Okay, welcome to my tutorial on creating a website on AWS. So, the first step is to start your, by the way, just a disclaimer, most of the resources that I needed for it has already been created and made sure that it's bug free, so I'm not going to actually be creating any more new things, but I will be going through on how you can create the item still. I won't create it though. Just saying. So the first thing you want to do is set up our EC2 instance, which is basically our server and where the code will be running, the front end and the back end. So first you want to click on launch instance and you can name this instance whatever you want. I named it EC2 ES-ESDE, and then after that make sure that Amazon Linux is selected already. The version you can just leave it as it is. The architecture as well, you can leave it as it is. For the instance type, if you're going to be doing live editing on it, I would recommend switching to maybe like T3A micro or a higher tier machine because T2 micro for live editing is very slow. But if you will be editing the code on somewhere else and then transferring it over, then that's fine too. And you wouldn't need to use T2, you wouldn't need to use T3A micro for that. So then after that, next part you want to do is you create a new key pair login. If you already have one, you can just use the current one you have, but I'm going to use the one I currently don't have. So what you want to do is name your key pair whatever you want. Then you create your key pair and it will load up something for you to download. Let's say just play and just make sure that PM is selected by the way. Then yeah, this will pop out, just save it. Remember where you save it, you will need it later on. And then I did not create that yet. So this is actually the one I currently use. And next is your network settings. So make sure that auto assign a public IP is set to enable and that allow SSH traffic from anywhere is also selected already. And then other than that, you can click launch your instance already. It's all good. And then next, after it's running, you want to go to your left bar, your left side navigation bar, click on Elastic IP under Network and Security. This is to create your Elastic IP so that when your server starts and stops, the public IP doesn't change every time. So after that, you want to click on Allocate Elastic IP and then click allocate. That will generate for you a random elastic IP, and then when you want to allocate the elastic IP, you can just click on the elastic IP itself and click associate elastic IP, and then after that make sure that instance is selected, and then you can choose the instance you want to assign the to associate the elastic IP to, and then you can click associate after that. Next, after doing that, you want to download WinSCP and PuTTY. I'm not going to download it in this video, but the links are already provided in the documentation, so yeah. And after that, when you open up WinSCP, you want to select on the new site. Make sure that your file protocol is set to SCP and your host name is your public IP address, this one, your elastic IP. Your username, you can just set it to EC2 user. Your password, you don't have to set anything. Then after open up the advanced settings and your private key file, what you want to do is select such that you can see the .pm file format, file type as well. So you want to select this, and then after that there will be a message popping up to ask you to convert this using PuTTY to convert it into a key that WinSCP supports, and then that will later, yeah. So it should appear like that after you have clicked OK. You can click OK, then you can click Save, and then you can click Login later. I already pre-created mine before, so I will just log in from here. And after you log in, it's a bit anticlimactic. But after you have logged in, what you want to do is Control Alt. Okay, for mine I've already done this, but basically what you want to do is Control Alt H, which is to show hidden files. So all the files that you see behind that are actually grayed out, those are originally hidden files which can now be seen. I don't know why you need this. I don't see a need for it, to be honest. And what you want to do next is Control P. Next, we need to install Node.js so that our server can actually run. So we only need 4 commands. This is the first command. I also put in the documentation, so I'm not going to run the commands. This is the second command. This is the third command. And this is the fourth command. And that's all you need. After you run those 4 commands, your Node.js should be installed. And then next, what you want to do is you can just close this. It doesn't really matter anymore. You want to open up VS Code actually. And open up the insecure codes. You might want to download the unpatched version of it so that your features that you've added or anything that you've made changes to for the previous assignment wouldn't affect it easily. And then what you want to do is on the front end, go to your index.js file and change the app.listen and remove the host name. You can do the same thing for the backend as well, because that is useless now because we're running it on the server, on the EC2 server. And then you can go to index.js in the backend and also remove it. Oh, it's here. Yeah, you can remove it. Okay. And then next, what you want to do is your env file, because you just downloaded the unpatched version. Make sure that all your environmental variables, your passwords are all set to match the one on your database. And the API names are all correct as well. The Mailtrap username and password as well. And then next, what you can do is open back up WinSCP. I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept it open. Anyways, we'll log back into it. And you will create a folder called bdesign app. So this one. And what you want to do is copy the front end, the entire set of code here from the insecure app codes directory and paste it over here. You can just drag and drop, but I'm not going to do that because my code is already edited on this side. And then after that, what you want to do is go to your EC2. You can actually, I'll leave this open for now. You can go to security, click on your security groups in your EC2 console, and just check that if you don't have these 2 rules added yet, what you can do is edit inbound rules and then click on add rules to make sure that that these 2 ports are open for connection from anywhere. You can set it to anywhere IPv4 if you want, but yeah, by default is you select IPv4. The same for this as well. You need to add these 2 rules. This one already will be added by Amazon, but you need to add these 2 rules by just clicking add rule, then select this. Then specify the port as well, of course, and then select anywhere IPv4. Then you click save rules after that. Okay, next part is you go back to your WinSCP, open up 2 terminals, or if you want, you can actually just connect SSH from VS Code if you want. Actually, that's what I did personally. CDB design app. CD. And you want to CD into each of the respective backend and front end folder. technically you don't have to start the backend because the backend doesn't really do much right now. It's not even functional, so you can just start the front end first by using npm start, but I will start both. npm start, and then it should start, yeah. And then now if you copy your elastic IP for your instance over here, and then you put port 103001, you should access this website, your bdesign website. And if you paste the same thing, and then you change the port number to 5000, you should access, yeah, you should get this message. Yeah, and then that's part 1 done. No, that's part 2, sorry. I just covered 2 parts, my bad. Okay, anyways, next part. So now we want to set up RDS. So I'm gonna disconnect real quick from Putty. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this and then close this too. Okay, so disconnect from this anyways. And then what you want to do now, set up RDS is basically a relational database. It's going to be where your MySQL database will live. What you want to do is create database here and make sure, okay, this is taking a bit longer to load. Okay, make sure the MySQL is selected here, not this one, okay. And then after that, you can just leave this as it is and select free tier for this. Do not select production or dev, that will cost money. You don't want to go broke, trust me. You can name the database whatever you want. I named it Chicken Wing because I was hungry at that time. And then, yeah, the admin, this would be basically your username for the root user for the RDS table. I mean database, sorry. And then you can create your own password if you want. You can set it to password if you want. That's what I did. And then my table got well hacked actually. So I wouldn't recommend setting the password. My password now is password protected, but it's still not as good. But it is better, you know. And then other than that, you can leave the rest as it is. Make sure that public access is set to yes on your connectivity. If not, you won't be able to connect your data. You have a lot of problems connecting to the database later on. And then you can click on you can click on create database if you want now. Or you can wait like a few hours later if you want. It doesn't matter. And then after that, now what you want to do is open up MySQL Workbench and oh wait, actually no, before that, okay, so after you create a database, it will take some time to create a database. Once it's created though, what you can do, which is really cool, personally, is you can name the connection name whatever you want. So I'm going to name it Chicken Wing as well. Chicken Wing, and then your host name, well, where you get this from, is actually your endpoint here. So you need to take note of this, copy this. This is your database endpoint. The port number, leave it as it is. And then your username, as mentioned earlier on, you change it to admin, and then you can click test connection. And then type in the password that you set. In my case, it's password protected. Oops. Give me a moment. I might have made a mistake. Password protected. Yep, I did spell it wrongly. Okay, so now you have test connection and it's successfully connected. You can click OK and then it will create a connection like this. I won't talk about that. I'm not even using that anymore. And the next part you want to do is actually open up that database and open your VS Code. Open up this file here. This is the SQL file. You can just copy this, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and then yeah, you can just paste it here, and then you can query all or execute all. Sorry, you can just Ctrl Shift Enter if you want to be like me. And then after that, next on step 16. Oh wait, actually no, I just run but that's the same thing, never mind. Okay, and then now what you want to do is go to your code here, or to be more specific, you might actually want to go to your EC2 instance and change the .env file, right, data to this this username and the password here. You're gonna want to change that, just saying, to admin and password protected, so that you can access the database from your code here. And yeah, then after that, you will want to go to your EC2 instance. So WinSCP again. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have closed it. Damn it. Anyways, what you want to do is you want to open up a terminal and you want to navigate to your backend folder and run the seed data file, which will basically upload the files to the table file here. And then after you have run the node seed table.js, no, seed data.js, sorry. After you run this file, then the table here should be filled like that. Okay, and that's all. And next, you want to do is open up your WinSCP again. I don't like using WinSCP. Oh my goodness. Okay. You want to navigate to your front end folder and your back end again. You want to start up both servers again. And this time you're going to log in actually, which is pretty cool if you ask me. No, I'm just kidding, it's not. CDB is so laggy. npm, oh, that's wrong. cd backend, and then npm start, and again you want to go to your EC2 instance public IP address. I forgot what it was. I need to go and find it again. Okay, and then after that, click login. Kelly at designer.com. Password. Login already. Click search, and your Kelly's design should appear if you did it correctly. Yeah. Then you can stop the servers again because you don't need it anymore. Yeah. And next part we will be doing is DynamoDB. So for this part, you need to go download the codes for DynamoDB video. So it's just this file. You'll get these two files inside. You can actually ignore file data.json if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then you want to connect your RDS table on MySQL. Workbench. And what you want to do is you want to export your table data, specifically your file table data. Yeah. So open up your tables, you right click on file, and then you select table data export wizard, and then you don't have to select anything here. You can browse to select where you want to save the file. When you click on browse, make sure you select JSON over here. You can name the file whatever you want. Make sure you remember where you save it, and then you can click next. I forgot about that, my bad. Let's name it file data.json, eh? Okay, I'll just name it, I'll just download it in the downloads folder. Then after you just click next, and then click next again, and it should be done. Make sure you see record 37, and then you're done. Next, you create a DynamoDB table. Wow! I don't know what's so special about that. But basically, you need to create the table here. You can name the table whatever you want. I would recommend you name it files, obviously, because you need to remember that. You're going to be using it down later the road, and you need to remember your table name. And then the partition key, set it to file underscore ID, and then set the data type to number. And then you can just create a table. And yeah, after you have created a table, you can go to Cloud9 and create an instance, which I already did. So you want to click create environment. You can name it whatever you want again. New EC2 instance, T2 micro. And while you're creating this instance, this Cloud9 yes environment, you want to make sure that secure shell SSH is selected instead, and then you can go and create your thing. Yeah, you can go create your instance. You don't have to care which instance type is using. I don't really care also. Then after that, you can go and open up your instance, and next what you want to do is upload your files. So the files that we had just now, the JSON file that we got from Workbench, from this MySQL Workbench, you want to upload that here. And the same for the seed files seed files table JS, which is in the zip file from, yeah. It's taking a while to connect. Stop aging me, please. I want to finish this. Okay, so yeah, this is the file data that I uploaded already. And then this is the table file. So what you need to do is just make sure that you change this file name to whatever the name of your JSON file is that contains the file table. Then after that, you want to run the command node seed files table.js. Just run this command. I am not going to run it. I already ran it before. And then after next, you should get a picture like that lah. Where if it's fine. Oops. Wait, where is it? Oh, never mind. Just ignore that. If you want any images, just follow documentation. I'm not going to show any images in this video. Okay, and then after you have run that command, what you want to do is open up DynamoDB, and select files, and you want to check click on explore table items, and then make sure that all the files has been added already. Obviously the file format for this, like my table format, is a bit different from what you would see. You should see something with the column Cloudinary file ID and Cloudinary URL instead of the S3 URL, but for my advanced feature later on, which I will be covering as well, I did some tampering with the data, with the file structure, so yeah. And yeah, we're done with RDS, yes, we're done with Dynamo, sorry. And next part, we will set up the backend function, which is also known as Lambda. So what you want to do is open up Lambda on the AWS management console. I am dehydrated. I need some water. And it's like what? Okay, so oh, I actually did not do that. Okay, so what you want to do is create function. You can name it get designs. The function name you actually have to make sure that it's running Node.js 14x, not any other version. If not, it might not work. Just saying. And then the default execution rule, select use existing role, and then select lab role. Then after that you can click on create function. I'm not going to cover the rest. Okay, and then what you want to do now is open up your Cloud9 instance, and also what you want to do is download actually no, sorry, I forgot to cover this, but you need to download the codes for Lambda zip file as well from Brightspace. So this one. Then after that, you go and unzip the file, upload it to, upload it to Cloud9, the same Cloud9 instance if you can. And then after you will want to run the command after you have uploaded it called zip function dot zip index.js dynamodb.js. You want to run this function. Okay, and then after that, it's going to zip it. Then what you want to do next is you're going to run this very, very long code, which is basically to upload the zip function file to AWS. You want to run this function. I'm not going to actually type in the command because it might run the thing. So basically, you want to run this command. Okay, this thing, the first line. Okay, you want to run that. Okay. And then after you have run that, you can go to your Lambda and get designs, and your code should appear inside here magically. I'm just kidding. It should appear inside. Yeah, there should be two files, index and dynamodb.js. Okay, you can think of the index.js like your controller, and you can think of the dynamodb like your model basically. Yeah. And next, what you want to do is go to create test, configure test event. You can name it test if you want, and then just put this in, and then you click invoke, and it should work. You should get status code 200 and the correct design file ID and all that. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Okay, and if you got that correct, then good for you. And then now we can move on to API gateway, which is the last part of the basic requirements. I want to kill myself already. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to click, once you've navigated to the API gateway page, click on create API, scroll down till you see REST API. Do not click this one, not the private version, this one. Click on build and select REST and click new API, name whatever you want it to be, and then after you can click create API. It will create it after that. Then now I'll go to the API I actually created, which is here, vdesign_API, and then you click actions, create method, and then you will select get, obviously, but I can't select get anymore because it's from the same resource. So yeah. And then after you've created it, you want to make sure that the integration request, right, is set to Lambda function, and the Lambda proxy integration is already selected, this one. And then you also want to set the Lambda function to be get designer. It should be quite obvious actually. Yeah. And then after that, after you've created your method, you can then click on method execution and then add this. So basically what you have to do, right, is just type fid, just this, and then you click the tick to save it, and then it should be there. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it actually. And then next, what you want to do is go to your Lambda. I'm gonna copy. I'm actually gonna open this on another page. I don't feel like opening it on the same on the same page. You want to go to your get design function, which you created earlier on. Go to configurations and permissions, and then you should see slab row over there, right? You just click on lab row, and then oh, you should see the ARN value here. Copy this. Go to your API. Go to your integration request, and then under execution rule, click this, paste this inside, click OK, click the tick. I don't know why you have to do this though. You technically don't have to actually. It still works without it. So after that, what you want to do is click enable cores. Make sure that this too is selected. Okay. Then you click enable cores. This. Okay. Okay. After that is done, you can then after that click on deploy API, click new stage. I already have a stage created, but you can create new stage, name whatever the stage you want it to be, and then you click deploy. I'm just going to deploy it to my latest, okay, latest name stage, and then you will have an invoke URL. This one, take note of this, copy the link address, go to your VS Code, and then don't need to open a folder actually, you can just SSH it. I'm gonna use VS Code to SSH directly to my instance, EC2 instance. Open folder, navigate to my bit design app folder, and then you want to open up your front end. It's a little slow. And then you want to change the base URL in your update design page, both of the base URL to your respect to the invoke URL that you got. Okay, and yeah, and then after that, what you want to do now is also change your header. You technically don't need a header anymore. I mean, it's still there, lah. Just keep it there. Your base URL, you want to change it a bit. So it should look like that now, the new one. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Then after that, what you want to do is again, win SCP, you don't have to do this. You can just start the server here instead. CD front end and back end. CD backend npm start. You want npm start your backend and front end as well, and then go and check your front end. Your yeah EC2 EC2 do, do, do. Okay, after you do this, after login, click search, and then you should click on any of the designs tiny and wait, is my backend running? Oh, my bad, I was missing this slash over here. not the thing. The endpoint didn't work properly. My bad. Okay, my bad. I was missing a part. After you have enabled calls, you actually need to go to your options because when you send the request, there's actually in the headers, you're sending the user ID also, right? So you need, and the thing is that by default, if you don't, you need to edit the header mappings first to allow to add user inside. If not, you'll get an error. So what you do is just click on the edit button, you go all the way to the right, and then you add user inside. No spacing, by the way, inside. Then you can click save, and then you should get this one at the end. Yeah, like say if I search, right, there's like I click to, yeah, it works now. My bad, I forgot to mention that part. Okay, and other than that, it yeah, that's the basic requirements for the video. Okay, and thanks for watching the video. You have come to the end of the recording.